I'll open the meeting at 7:03.
In the rear.
I'll start out with the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
George Thomas,
Yes.
Debbie Miller,
Here.
Karen Winchester, Brad Stillwell,
Yes.
Chief Lance.
Yes. Motion to excuse Ms. Winchester. Is there support?
I support.
Call us Stillwell. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda. Or no, we'll go with agenda approval. Chair would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to pull the agendas.
Okay.
To add another topic.
You want to amend?
I'd like to pull the agenda to amendments.
Okay. Well, what do you want to amend?
I would like to add under item E, new business, IT contract. And the worksheet that I had set aside separately on their desk.
I was going to say that
Has
coincides.
to do with that.
That coincides with the paperwork you passed out.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. I'm looking for a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I'll move to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Motion by Committee Miller, second by Brad Stowell. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Now we go to the consent agenda. All items listed under consent agenda are considered to be routine and non-controversial. They do not require discussion by the NOCFA board and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion. If discussion is desired on an item, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will automatically be moved to the last item under new business. Chair will entertain a motion.
Make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Motion by Stillwell. Is there support?
I'll support.
Support by Miller. Can we have a roll call, please?
George Thomas,
Yes.
Debbie Miller,
Yes.
Brad Stillwell,
Yes.
Motion carries 3-0. Madam Secretary, as a rule, you would call the chair last on the vote.
all right, thank you.
Thank you. Motion carries 3-0. We move on to public comment. Public comment is on agenda items only. Members of the public may address the board once, recognized by the chair. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Prior to addressing the board, members of the public will state their name and address for the record. A second public comment is available prior to the adjournment of the meeting for all other comments. Thank you for your cooperation. Anyone wish for public comment tonight? None appearing, we will move on. We don't have presentations. Under old unfinished business, articles of incorporation revisions, creating board policies. Have you had an opportunity to speak with the attorney?
No.
I have not either. I know she's working on them. I'm going to go with the old adage that if she'd have had them done, she would have notified us. I'm going to imagine she's still working on it. We will table this, and will you be talking to her? That you know?
Do you want me to talk to her?
That's not what I asked.
I don't have any
Okay.
thing to talk to her about, unless you would like me to talk to her about something specific.
I thought you were the only one that could talk to her.
Yeah, you have.
I am the chief.
The chief?
Yeah, the chief, because he has day-to-day business to do. That's why I was asking if you were going to talk to her because you're.
Oh, no. I don't have any upcoming business to discuss with her.
Rather than both of us making separate calls, I was going to have you added if you already.
Understood.
Okay, I will get her. Okay. But to clarify for you,
I didn't know the chief was able to.
well, because he works the day-to-day operation,
Okay.
so he can contact, otherwise it goes through me. You're correct there. I just thought if he was in the middle of conversation, then we don't have to have two separate. I will reach out to her. All right, we will move on to business. A, approval of Rescue 4 maintenance. Does that go to the chief or Mr. Watt?
I'll address that. A couple of months ago, I told you we were trying to replace the old used ambulance that we had purchased from Independence some years ago. After doing much research, there's nothing out on the market for under $35,000-$40,000 that's anything decent. The prices have all really changed over the last couple of years. We were trying to prevent having to put $6,000 plus into the repairs of the other one. Being that we couldn't find anything reliable or anywhere in that price that we paid for that last ambulance, we just went ahead and got the work done to give it another year or two, hopefully. So since the amount's over $5,000, we need board approval to pay.
Okay, is it within the budget?
Yes, it's within our vehicle maintenance budget.
Okay.
So you need a motion for that?
I need a motion for this $6,454.49.
So move.
So moved. I make that motion.
I'll support.
Okay, motion by Brad Stillwell, support by Debbie Miller. Any further discussion? I need a roll call, please.
Okay, Debbie Miller,
Yes.
Brad Stillwell,
Yes.
George Cullis,
Yes. Motion carries 3-0. Next item on our new agenda, approval to move capital account into a money market account. Chief?
Since our capital account is starting to go back up, we're up $380,000 or something like that now. That's just in a regular savings account. The state bank has a money market account that we can be getting 3% back on annually, as opposed to the 0.63 whatever that we're getting now. So I would just like permission from the board to move that capital account into a money market account.
Okay.
Is that flexible? You can pull it out if you need it?
You have to maintain a $10,000 minimum. I've already talked to Lisa at State Bank about it.
Okay.
And they go by the quarter.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I make a motion to make our money make money.
I support you.
Motion by Brad Stillwell, support by Debbie Miller. Any further discussion? None appearing. Roll call, please.
Brad Stillwell,
Yes.
George Cullis,
Yes.
Debbie Miller,
Yes.
Motion carries 3-0. Item C. Okay, is FY for the year,
Fiscal year ending
fiscal year 2024? That's June 30th?
July 1st,
Oh, you go with, yeah,
July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2024.
that's what I was asking. Okay. So fiscal year ending June 30th of 2024 budget approval. Holly Township has approved it. Rose Township has approved it. So the question was asked if that was a legal motion. I got a couple of phone calls after Rose Township. For those that don't know, Rose Township approved the budget contingent upon a no more than a 4% increase on the 2025 budget. So I made a couple of phone calls and I actually checked it out. So we were in the right path. Basically what they did was approve the budget. They can't make it contingent upon something else because
It's already.
we have no control over that, number one. Number two, if it's contingent, you can't come back and take the money back. So it was really useless to put that on the end of there, but I did want to check.
Did you want me to read it today? I have the motion.
Go ahead.
Motion by Supervisor Snyder to approve the 2024 operating budget for NOCFA in the amount of $2,861,500 with the condition that in 2025, NOCFA understands that this board is only going to approve an increase of 4%. Second by Trustee Walls. Voting yes, Gamka, Walsh, Shive, Snyder, Mish. Voting no, Miller, absent none.
Okay, so just to clarify, based on what you said, and when we get to the next budget, depending on what's approved, this board approves the not-for budget, then sends it back to the townships to be ratified.
Right.
If this board approves a budget and it goes back to the Rose Township Board and they don't approve the budget, in essence, they're saying that they will be dropping out of the authority. It will become a legal issue. They do not get to run this board from their board any more than Holly Township gets to run this board from their board. The only option that either of us have is to withdraw from the authority.
Mhm.
So we've been down this road before, but I checked all of this out. After I got the phone calls, I got 2 of them from the last meeting. Actually, I got 3, but it was the 2 that, I got 1 after I made the phone call.
I approved the budget, but I did not approve what she said.
I understand. I'm just explaining to this board how that fits this board. In essence, they approve this. Whatever else they said is their business. But they don't control this board from their board.
Right.
And if this board approves a budget, whatever it is, and it goes back and they don't approve it, then that'll be where the problem comes up. So I just wanted to be clear on that. So both boards have approved the budget. Chair would entertain a motion to approve this budget.
I'll approve the 2024.
So moved.
So, sorry.
It's okay. So moved by Brad Stillwell, support. I'll
No,
do it just so that they're not, well,
support by Miller.
no, I said I support it just so it's not.
Oh, you did, okay. I was just trying to keep you out of it.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Brad Stillwell,
Yes.
Debbie Miller,
Yes,
George Cullis,
Yes, motion carried 3-0. Request to add additional full-time personnel. Chief,
In your packet is a letter to the board regarding, would you like me to read the letter?
go ahead.
Dated May 10th, 2023, NOCFA Board of Directors regarding request to add additional full-time personnel. Your NOCFA Board of Directors, I'm requesting approval from the board to add an additional 2 full-time positions that would begin July 1st, 2023. We continue to struggle with recruitment and retention issues. Last month, 2 more paid on-call employees resigned due to not having enough time to respond to calls or work shifts. At the same time, last month, we had 3 employment applications from individuals. However, after interviewing one of them and contacting the other 2 to set up interviews, all 3 decided they did not have time to commit. Getting proper coverage at our stations continues to be an issue. We are keeping most of our shifts filled, but we are having to pay overtime, and many current employees are facing increasing workloads, which is leading to fatigue, burnout, and lower morale. Adding at least 2 more full-time firefighters to our roster will help fill these voids in the schedule and improve our coverage at the stations. The majority of the cost to pay the wages for these full-time employees is basically a wash, since we are already budgeted to pay a fixed amount of coverage hours during the year. The only additional cost would be the benefits that would have to be provided. This additional amount comes out to about $8,000 per new employee. However, this also depends on if the new employee takes our healthcare benefit. If they do not use our healthcare, the $8,000 cost actually decreases. I believe that there is room in the upcoming budget to find the additional funds that may be needed to support these positions. At the very least, we can decrease the amount that is budgeted for capital improvement next year to offset any increase. As you know, the board approved last year 2 additional full-time positions. I know Mr. Stillwell, after we had a discussion, you posed the question, is that all you need? And at that time, I didn't want to get overwhelmed with staffing that many at a time. I wanted to kind of slowly add to it and let it work itself out to see if the budget would support it or not. And if we had, so we've had those 2 positions actually went effective January 1 this year. They seem to be working out well. We're still within the budget for them. But we are continuing to see decline in the commitments, applications coming in. Everybody around us is doing the same. I know 2 months ago, I did a study that included 13 of the departments around the area, listing all sorts of data, but one of those data points was the current full-time status of their personnel. And just about everybody around us has added some personnel. If not, Milford went from 0 to 15. Springfield just added 7, I believe, this past year. So there were 2 or 3 they already had. But we're seeing the same thing all over the place. We're not the only department that's going through this. And the only remedy that we're finding is to start offering career positions, because that's the only way that we're going to retain people.
One of the words you hear spoken a lot with the state legislature is legacy costs. How will this affect our legacy cost?
We have a 401 benefit plan, so we're not speaking of pensions or anything right now. Not that, you know, not saying that might not change in the future, but we really
The point to my question is to make it publicly known. We do not have.
No, we don't. Yeah. So as of today, we really don't have a legacy cost. We do the 401k match. We do a healthcare savings plan match. So there's nothing legacy speaking that we would be on the hook for.
When an employee retires and leaves.
When an employee retires, leaves, yeah, they're gone, and we're not paying out anything after.
I just wanted that for the public because I know it's a big conversation we can have at the state level, and there are a lot of communities that are under that burden. Village of Holly's one of the legacy costs are.
And we're actually starting to see more and more departments that left the legacy costs years ago come back to it, because it's also affected a hiring process with getting good candidates. When they took away the pensions years ago, they lost a lot of good candidates. And so you're seeing a lot of those departments come back to pension retirement plans. They're not necessarily doing healthcare retirement, but they're bringing back the wages.
Any discussion from the board?
What do you pay? I guess you say overtime, right? What is that going to save us in overtime that you're paying right now then? If you get 2 new guys?
So on average, I've got paid on call guys, a couple of them that are pulling upwards of 100 hours a week right now.
Of overtime?
No,
Regular hours.
add 50 hours, 60 hours for overtime.
So there's savings there if you hire 2 more.
There's a savings in overtime. The hourly wage that we pay our paid on call people is a little bit more than what the hourly wage works out to for a full-time person. Because a full-time person is set on a 24-hour schedule for so many days a year.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take their total hours and divide it up to their hourly wage, it actually comes out a little bit less than the hourly wage we're paying for the paid on call person. But the full-time people also get all the benefits, right? So that's not included in that base wage, but I'm talking just strictly the hourly wage that we have budgeted to fill seats on shifts. With that and the amount of savings and the overtime, that's where I make the comment about it pretty much washes itself out. We're paying the paid on call people a retirement 401 also. albeit a little bit lower than
Full time.
full-time. Nevertheless, you've got costs there that are balancing themselves out. So really, the big factor in this is the employee healthcare. Healthcare is, as you all know, ridiculous as it is. So that's really the big hitter there. But if we have employees that either they just take a single plan, they don't take a plan at all, they just go for the stipend that we offer in lieu of. Again, that those costs, that $8,000 per employee comes down. Worst case scenario, both employees that we bring on take a family plan or a double husband and wife plan, and we're at $16,000, $18,000 that we're going to have to find out of the budget, which I believe is more than like what it's supposed. But I spend more time, me and a couple of the other administrative staff, but we spend more time trying to fill the schedule.
Mm-hmm.
I probably spend 2 hours a day with sending stuff out, bringing the schedule up, moving people around, trying to get coverage for other people. Plus you have to deal with the people that we already have. And full-time guys want to use a vacation day or sick time. That adds to the problem. And it just continues to.
So the last time we did this, you had a set of numbers for us where we could see what we were currently spending full-time versus the hours we were filling with the extra, the paid on call.
It's the same exact. And I guess I should have probably just put that sheet in there.
It would be nice to see where we are in relationship to full-time, how many shifts we still have that aren't being met versus the dollars against that.
Yeah,
It's always good to be able to defend your argument.
I can tell you that on average over the past 2 months, we've had probably a dozen openings per week.
That isn't being covered.
That was initially not being covered, that we had to try and get coverage for. Out of those, we still have probably 3 to 4 12-hour shifts per week that we are unable to cover.
When that happens, where does it suffer? Do you close the doors of the rows or?
No. We've never had a situation where we didn't have any crew at the stations. There's at least one.
Okay.
It's that second person with the primary person.
And you've told us before that 2 got to go. That 2 scene, correct?
That is our standard operating procedure. We have to keep, there's a bunch of matrices that fall into this. We have 4 ambulances. We have a primary ambulance that is licensed advanced life support. That ambulance is housed here. The rest of the ambulances are licensed basic life support with an option to go ALS if the proper people are on it. The ambulance that's here has to go with that crew. The ambulance that's down at Rose, 95% of the time goes with the advanced life support crew as well, with that ambulance. But the times that we have only one person there, they go out the door with the ambulance. This crew also shoots out the door. And normally, we put out messages when we have an open position down there, and somebody, Captain Seal, who lives right across the street, somebody is there that usually meets them on scene, just so that there are 2 people, but it's not 2 people coming out the door of the station itself.
How many are trained on ACLS?
All of our paramedics.
Oh,
That's, I think we have 16 paramedics. That sound right, man? 16 paramedics and 20, well, it's on the sign sheet. I'm sorry, 13 paramedics, we have 22 EMTs. I've got 2 employees out on leave right now, but
So by adding a new full-time employee, you also create more vacation need. And you said that's one of your problems when people are on vacation. So every time we add a new one, we create more vacation slots.
every time we add a new employee, that employee is allowed, based on their seniority, a certain amount of PTO time, yes.
But I'm just saying from a balance standpoint.
Yep. But it's also much more well-structured than relying on paid on call, who
May or may not.
may or may not want to work. I
Right.
mean, that's up to them. That's the way we do it. They're not forced to work. It's, if they're available and they want to. they
Your
can work.
hours go by the month, by the. But when you're talking a block of hours, monthly typically,
You mean a budgeted block of hours?
Yeah.
We budget for the entire year. There's something like, 15,000 hours.
okay, so the question I was trying to get to, you're just gonna make it more complicated. How many full-time people would you need to cover,
To cover everything?
yeah, your hours?
Dan, what was that number you rattled off? How many, Dan and I were just talking about this the other day. 23 full-time employees.
He's only recording the movie, you don't, the meeting, you don't have to pay attention.
So 18 would completely fill your schedule, 23 would fill all your holes and cover.
And cover vacation time.
Okay, thank you, that's.
I'm sorry.
And we are at what right now?
We're at 10.
So you rely on a lot of part-time people to do your,
We do.
And we are currently at 10, this would make it 11.
This will make it 12.
If you're at 10 and we add one,
I'm asking for 2 positions.
I think you said,
no, so,
It's 2 in the letter.
because I was just gonna say, why are you only asking for one? Now I don't get to ask that.
Brad asked for a few months.
yeah, it just made,
Say it.
the way things are, people are volunteering to do anything anymore.
Right.
And I'm sure you got some guys that you don't want to see go.
Oh, we do.
We've put, I'm sure we've paid to put them in a certain position and they know enough now that it'd be nice to keep them. I know it's $8,000 more per township. This is covered in your budget. You can fill it. We don't have to go to the townships and ask them for $8,000. You can handle it in the budget that you got.
Yes.
Is 8,000 a stipend then, if they don't take the medical benefits?
No. 8,000 is a number I came up with, factoring in the hour for hour pay that we're paying paid on call versus a full-time, the overtime cost savings, the benefits of the 401, the healthcare savings plan, all of those offsets. If you use that formula based on a full-time versus paid on call, it's about $8,000 more because we have to pay the healthcare costs for full-time. However, again, if employee A and B get hired, and let's say it's one of our young guys that's, 19, 20 years old, that's on his parents' healthcare, single, he's not gonna take healthcare. They'll get a $2,000 stipend. Therefore, that $8,000 decreases.
And you're saving money on overtime too.
We're saving money on overtime. It's not a cure-all for all of the openings, because as you just demonstrated, we have 10 people versus 23 filling shifts. So yes, the vast majority of our shift coverage is being done by paid on call staff. This is going to start to plug holes. And although I would love to say, I would like to sit here before you and say, I would like money for 23 full-time employees, the townships are never going to be able to afford that right now. Hence, I'm trying to slowly increase this so it's not a, chopping block of 0 to 100. We can somewhat limit, any huge increase if we continue to slowly adapt to it and add to it. As opposed to like we had to do the raise the hourly wages years ago, where I came to you and said, instead of doing $1 an hour wage, we need a $6 an hour increase.
Could you give me a number on what it costs for paid on call to work the same hours as a full-time employee?
So a paid on call paramedic is gonna make $23 an hour. And if he works a average of 60 hours a week, that's $1,400 as opposed to a full-time firefighter that is at $21.34, something like that. I'm looking at you, Tosh, because you're.
I don't look at my paycheck, I just make sure there's a big.
I think that's roughly what your hourly
Okay.
wage comes out to. So if you times that by that same 60 hours a week, it's $1,280, so it's $120 less per week.
For the full time.
Times 52 weeks is $6,200 a year.
Okay, that's the number I was wanting the board to be able to see, because it's almost a trade.
That, exactly,
Mhm.
Those are the numbers that help us out.
yes.
Yeah, when we hired the other two before, that's what it looked like. I mean, it looks like it's a wash and it makes life easier and make sure that things are covered better. I feel uncomfortable making a motion.
As a citizen at large.
Yes, well, I guess I don't, because you say you're gonna be able to take care of this in the budget that we've already approved. I mean, if there was money that we had to go back to the townships for, I wouldn't want to make that motion, but I'm willing to make a motion on this. Yes. I don't know if we're done talking about it.
Did you have a conversation? discussion?
No. But I understand exactly what you're saying.
Well, the numbers are there. That's
Yeah,
why
it looks like it's a
that
wash.
number. It's pretty close to a wash. And I can tell you as a township supervisor, I've been at these meetings with the other township supervisors, and they're all having the same problem. The meeting I was at this morning, somebody said, how are things going on in Oakland County, Oakland Township? And Adam Klein said to me, other than my employees going to all of your other townships, it's happening everywhere. They're all switching and jumping and going back and forth. That's one of the reasons we raise the salaries at Holly Township. It's all about employee retention. So I'll take the burden off your back and I'll go ahead and make this motion to add to. Is there support?
I'll support.
And there's support from Debbie Miller. At that point, I return to the recording secretary and ask for a roll call.
Debbie Miller,
Yes.
Brad Stowell,
Yes.
George Cullis,
Yes, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Next month, we'll be swearing in some guys, or you have to go through a lot of.
So, the good thing with approving these two positions is when we did our testing, which was a very long, arduous process last year, we came up with a list of candidates based on that test. Because we had 5 candidates, but we only had 2 openings.
Okay, so you've done part of the homework already.
So we've done most of the work because our policy states that once a list is generated for a promotion or a,
So you already know who's next.
that's good for 1 year. Yes, so we
You
will,
should have told us that might have been a different.
well, they need to be officially asked if they want the job still, so.
I understand.
But yes, these won't take as long to fill as the 2 that was approved last year. My plan is to get them going the new budget here in July.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you.
Next. Next on the agenda is the IT contract.
This was something that we just finished up last minute, we've been working on for 3 months. As I'm sure the township officials are aware, the technology is getting more and more advanced. The threat of cybersecurity is always an increasing issue. And up until now, all of our internal IT technology has been being dealt with internally by employees that have a niche for this or that or the other. Mostly Chief Weil and Lieutenant Miller handle a lot of the day-to-day routine stuff. If we ever run into like a critical issue, we would, hire somebody, a third-party vendor out to do, come in and redo stuff. But all of our equipment is aging. Our computers, our firewall, our server, Wi-Fi, all of that stuff really needs a new renovation, and it's just getting out of our scope. So we, over the past 3 months, met with 3 different vendors. We had actually several meetings with each one. Kind of gave a blueprint of what we were looking for and got responses back. And the piece of paper you have in front of you is kind of the summary of the estimates that we received back from the 3 IT services. I think most of you probably know IT Right. And they actually came back as way cheaper than the other 2.
I was gonna say, these 3 bids are so far apart.
Yes, they are.
That it makes me wonder, are we even looking at the same thing? I see IT Right as a 3-year contract, but more than double that, you go to Man, and that's a 1-year contract. Both of those say they're auto with fixed % increases. Then the T Daniels is 60,000, but it doesn't tell me anything what I'm getting for my money over there.
So Chief Weil really took the lead on this because that was kind of his baby. Do you want to just summarize the trip we took with this?
I'll try to be brief. All right, so to first off answer your question with T Daniels, when they hit us at $60,000, we pretty much stopped talking because that's just not an option for this department. Okay, they were that high because they looked at our device count and several other factors that played into it, and they are somewhat local, but they don't necessarily deal with the small government municipality type systems that IT Right and Man IT work with. So they were pretty much off the table at that point. Man IT is a very desirable company. They're a bit smaller. They're local as well, Mount Morris area, Clio. And they do deal with quite a few municipalities. I checked the references. They deal with Brighton Area Fire Authority. And Brighton area was very satisfied with the work that they were doing. They just came in quite a bit higher, again, based on equipment count and those types of things. when you discuss, IT right, you're getting into scale of economics. Okay. They manage, I think, just about every municipality around us and throughout the southeast lower Michigan. Very large company, and, you know, they can charge what they charge because they have so many clients. They also offered the best, boarding fee, as far as labor rate goes. They were pretty much the same across the board. Where things with IT right get better for us is fixed projects. So, for example, we have a server that we need to replace. They will quote the job, and that's the price you pay. If it runs 10 days longer or 2 days shorter, you're paying the same price. Okay. Overruns are not a situation with them. They understand our budgeting process. Anything that's less than 8 hours. So if we order a computer, and it needs to be put on the network, they just come out and handle it. There's no extra cost for us. We pay the hardware, and they just supply the labor, as part of our contract. So it's very enticing to use them. Again, they're up in the area constantly. They've been the most amicable to sit down and talk about. They use high-end security, which is what we're lacking. They understand HIPAA, CGIS, and a lot of the other security compliance issues that we could run into should we proceed the way we're going today. So that wasn't brief. I apologize.
So in a nutshell, we decided, upon the board's approval, to go with IT right. The money for this was in the upcoming budget. That was one of the increases that we had thought of. So the money's there already for that. Because it is a contract.
So it's already budgeted.
It's already budgeted, but because this is a contract for the amount that it is, I need board approval. We've worked out a biannual payment plan with IT right, sort of like we do for all of our big money things, where we do a payment at the end of July and payment at the end of January. With each payment that we get from the townships through the year.
So I did have a couple of questions. Do you know what other departments are doing with IT? And just let me give you the whole question. What are other departments? And have any of the fire departments in the area decided to go together to try to get a better price by getting one company to bid? So that, as you said, they cover the region.
Well, every other fire department is associated with a township, so it's the township, that township.
It's because of what that township.
That was gonna be a question to you two.
Right.
Who do you use,
I do,
and is
right.
there a package deal possible?
Well, I think we got the package deal from IT right because they do all of the other municipalities, but
Do you use IT, right?
Yeah. I think you do too.
You do.
We just switched and I can't answer that. That would be a Karen question.
But yeah, the only organizations that would be separate, Chief Wild mentioned, Brighton Area Fire Authority. Any other fire department is they do their township, so it's
In the city of Rochester is one of IT Right's clients, and I spoke with the finance director there, and he just had nothing but praise for the company and how they operate and integrate with their department and everything else. So one of the negatives with IT Right, though, is they were just bought out by a nationwide company. So now they have families in all of the states. So it's a much larger company. When I spoke with Brighton Area, they did use IT Right for quite some time. They went to Man IT because it felt like a smaller family business versus, and I spoke with IT Right about those reasons, and they recognize that. They've started some customer service matrix to try to get that hometown small, business
Does
feel
the
again.
contract price includes new equipment?
No.
So you'll be coming back with, as you said, all your equipment is old.
Yeah, but we put, we've already, part of the overall, I don't want to say donations, the commitments for the townships for the ARPA money, our commitment for our portion was to new computers and stuff like that,
So
so.
that's not going to be coming back to us in the next
No,
month.
sir, no. It was already pre-planned.
You've been the man right now, right, chief?
Oh, yeah.
Is there?
Want a pay increase?
Yes.
That was, when I heard this before, I heard the $30,000 mark, but anyways, doesn't matter. Yeah, is there schooling that you're willing to do and then become part of this?
So I like a peanut butter sandwich.
Mhm.
When I spread that peanut butter on the bread, I like to be able to taste it.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm the peanut butter. You spread me too thin, you're not going to taste me.
Okay, well,
So,
that's
right.
just, you've been doing it so far. That's
Right.
why I was asking if you need more technology.
You know, I
Is it
mean,
worth, you know?
no, I'm going to tell you what, it's worth twice this in my mind. Things get so out of hand with a day for me that something breaks, there's a fire literally, and then a truck's broken, and then, right, somebody needs a fire inspection. There's just way too many things going on. We've grown past any sort of part-timey, dealing with stuff.
Mhm. Well, we just hired 2 new guys, so it's a relief.
We need an inspector.
We've talked about doing this for the last 3 years. In fact, we got a quote.
We did, yeah.
Right, like 2 years ago in 2019. Was it 2019?
It's been a while ago,
4 years ago.
and their quote's not much far off from where they are.
We got a quote back then, and then the COVID hit, and we got sidetracked on other things. And so this has been something, I mean, every time something goes down, it takes, just because of the technology and, 10 years ago, he could have fixed anything in 5 minutes. But,
Mhm.
if you don't keep up on the stuff, when it goes down, then you gotta study
Yep.
and research and.
No, but that was my question. Is it worth?
And it's just getting too monotonous, and we're getting more and more programs that we use that have to be secured, and he did, per the 3 agencies that gave us these quotes, they all came in and did their own kind of little, we suggest this type of thing, like password, more secure passwords. So he has been doing that.
I'm not a
the
very
last
liked
couple
person
months.
right now.
And let me tell you, just on the logins for our computer, where we put a bulk email out to all of the, you gotta remember, we've got almost 40 people,
Mhm.
right? Paid on call part-time, or paid on call full-time. We just put a policy out that your password is going to be this length, and it's gonna be changed this often. And by the way, if you don't get it changed by this cutoff date, you're done. Well, guess how many phone calls he got after the cutoff date? People that would come in and will go to do a report or something, and I'm locked out, I can't, what happened?
Mhm.
We just changed all the passwords. So trying to get that many people that aren't full-time, they're here maybe even once every couple of weeks or once a week doing it, it's not easy.
I would just look in the line in your pocket, save.
It's a good
Knock a
retirement
little
gig, and I
money.
appreciate that.
Okay, that's all.
I'm not there yet.
That's what the question was.
Right. And one of the other services, if I can just go off for a minute, that IT Right offers is a training program for employees. So when you look at cybersecurity, intrusion detection, and intrusions, a lot of that is from Spunkatelli opening an email and going, hey, this looks pretty cool, bang, and the next thing you know, you're hit.
Mhm.
So they put that training forth secretly. We don't tell everybody that this is what's going on, and we catch people that are, answering phishing emails and different things like that. And that also helps our security. I can't do that either.
Mhm.
So again, to me, it's worth twice what they're asking. It really is.
Yeah, we were actually, in reality, when we threw this together, we were thinking we were probably gonna be about 35-40-ish.
Mhm.
So when they came in at what they came in, it was
Pleasant.
surprising.
Yeah.
What had you budgeted?
So we had already had $15,000 in IT in our budget as it was, 15 to 20,000. And then for this upcoming budget year, I did an additional 15,000.
Or 30.
So we had budgeted 30,000.
Right.
But our IT budget also includes our subscription to our Google, any peripheral accessories that we buy for our computers or whatever, our Microsoft
You're gonna
accounts.
be able to live within that budget for this.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
We have-
Their hourly
we-
rate is?
160. Oh, that's, let's see that.
No, I pay $185 and I have a deal.
What's the board's pleasure?
I just want to say that I work with IT right. I've had them since they first started. And, they're great. I mean, we've had people open up fishing, got us in trouble. They come out, they fixed it. Renee had some problems a couple weeks ago. We just talked about it on the phone. They come out from Bath, they're in Bath, or by Lansing. And then they've got people that are kind of local. So they're great. I mean, they will fix anything. They will send, if you get something that looks strange, send it to them. They take care of it. It's wiped out. They're on their computer. So you've got to be really careful nowadays. And they've been excellent. I have nothing but the good things to say about them.
Good, thank you.
And that's been for 14 years or so.
Mhm.
Okay, Chair would entertain a motion to approve the IT contract.
I'll second it.
Motion by Collins, support by Stoll.
They want to say IT right?
Okay,
IT right contract?
I can amend it to say right. I like being right.
Enjoy your peanut butter.
Thank you.
Crunch a little thicker this time.
Any further discussion?
I don't.
None hearing, roll call.
Bryce Stillman,
Yes.
Debbie Miller,
Yes.
George Cullis,
Yes, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
You'll be. No, thank you. Read yet.
Okay, we'll go to reports. Chief, sir, with you?
The run count for April, there's a typo on the very top line of total incidents. That should read 91 instead of 71. My total calls at the bottom of that row didn't populate up to the total incidents for some reason, but we had 91 calls last month. 44 in Holly Township, 33 in Rose Township, 3 out on I-75, and 15 mutual aids, both fire and medical. We transported 47 patients last month. Any questions on any of the rundown?
I would just say it always amazes me how close these calls are between the two communities, and just about the time Rose Township has more, the next month they have less.
We are currently going through our ISO audit. We're set to meet with the auditor on June 20th next month, and we have quite a few of the full-time and part-time staff working on items to get this done. Chief Smith, did you want to touch on any of that?
What we're doing is we're going through and we're making sure all of our pre-plans are up to date. We're going through the training on pre-plans with the employees. We did actually some of those today. Updating our building inspection, code enforcement. But beyond that, we go through and we verify things such as like water sources to make sure that they're functioning properly, test our wells. Kind of the things we do every year, but we make sure we have it all organized in a format that we can present to them. Because they come, they're not here that long, and they want very specific things. And you know how it is when you're out inspecting things over a year, getting all the records accumulated into an easy to view format. That's really what we're focused on. We're working with the one-stop shop at the county to get our wall maps updated with all the current addresses that have been added in both townships. So visually, when they get a call at night or anywhere, you get up, you can see on the map where you're going, in addition to trying to see it on your phone. Matt's gone through a project to get all of our data that we have electronically essentially in the hands of the firefighters as they leave the station. It'll come right up on their phone. We'll tell them where closest water source is. We'll tell them what the pre-plan is, and you can open up our file right from the phone. So it's been, it's kind of prompted us to continue the progress we've made with our overall ability to access our records and our records to be updated. It also gives us an opportunity to do an inventory on all of the vehicles to make sure that the suggested equipment is in place on each truck, that it hasn't migrated between vehicles, and kind of a reset of that. So beyond just the scoring, it's a very good process for the department, though it takes time.
And this is the big every 5-year audit that we get through them to keep our ISO the rate at what it is right now, which is a 3. So it's important that we, like Doug said, are very thorough when we give them all the information that we.
3 is the top.
1 is the top, and I believe there isn't any in the state of Michigan. I think there's a couple of 2s, Grand Rapids, Kent County, those departments out there. I don't think Detroit's a 2, are they? Detroit, yeah, I think Detroit's a 3 also, but no, a rural department such as ours with a 3 score is very, very good. We're going to keep it that way.
We have one area that isn't a 3, or are they all 3s now?
No, that cannot be overcome without building
A fire station.
stations.
There are small little pockets in the very corners of each of the townships that are outside of the ISO ring.
5-mile radius gotcha station, road miles.
That being said, if you'll make an effort to get with me, we need to continue the conversation.
Yeah.
Shannon's on board, but we have to go to them so they can get answers to their questions.
Anything else, Doug?
Nope.
Chief Lyle? You want to reflect on the banquet or anything, or is everybody there? I wasn't there, so. Association, well, okay. Lieutenant Miller?
No, sir.
We do have a EMT academy tentatively starting, in June. Is that right?
EMT what?
EMT academy
For June 14th.
June 14th. I guess that is all I've got. Brianne, do you want to?
I don't, but I am.
I'll tell you what to do, Miller.
Let me help you.
I'll tell you what to do. All right, I hate talking in front of people, so.
Speak in the microphone.
I'll speak into the microphone. First, I want to thank you guys for coming to our banquet, and the ones that couldn't make it, I understand. George, thank you for your presentation you gave about our department and what we've come up with. Our board right now is actually kind of dwindled. We had a couple people resign and leave the department altogether. So we have a meeting tomorrow. I'm going to get George a little more information for the banquet. Hopefully I'll have it all for you by Wednesday. We have a golf outing coming up in August. It's going to be joint with Springfield's and the Ride for Autism and Great Lakes Burn Camp. We're taking sponsors, and if anyone wants to make a team, we have these out. And I think that's it. If you guys don't have any questions for me.
Thanks, Brianne.
You're welcome.
Sure, thank you.
Thanks.
That concludes, my reports.
All right.
Okay, and that covered the Firefighters Association as well. Howie Township. So I did mention that we have the township bought the old Dawson Tire property, which is the old fire hall, 7.6 acres over there. That will be the home of the new township going forward. There's enough property there. I'm hoping with other civic leaders, we can work that into a township municipal property. The village has to find a new home to go, and we'll be looking at that and seeing if that's a possibility that they could come and join us. That being said, that means that obviously we won't be putting a new township hall up on the farmstead property. That project will still go forward. It'll just allow a little bit more land for actual farm activities. That project is in conjunction with 4-H in Michigan State, and it'll continue to go forward with the township. Did I have anything else? Those are the two things. The sewer project that's over on Dixie Highway, we got $10 million allocated through the county for the purchase of capacity from Genesee County as part of their Kersley Interceptor improvement up there. That's a joint effort with Holly Township, Groveland, Brandon, and the Village of Ortonville. And for years, the Village of Ortonville was not on board with that project, and they are now. So there's a unified effort between the 4 communities to make that happen up in the northeast corner.
But that's not for any actual construction. It's just.
That's the capacity. Phase 1 is getting the capacity.
Yeah. Okay.
Now we start working on phase 2, which is actually getting it down. We've had some preliminary engineering studies done. We know what we need and projected costs, in the 35 million range, but now we have to work on finding the money and the funding. But this locked in the capacity. We had to do that because Genesee County is expanding and redoing the Kersley Interceptor. And that was the opportunity to get our pipe. And it'll be there kind of a first come, first serve, whoever uses it out of that area.
But any word on the water main extension concurrent with that from Shannon South?
Well, that's phase 2. That's what we're working on next. Got to find funding for that. See, the unfortunate part is we're not like the city of Detroit or the city of Royal Oak. We don't have that kind of a budget. When you're sitting here with communities that have $1 million budgets and you have a $35 million project, you can't even bond for that. So that's why we've been leaning heavily on grants in the county to help. One of the parts of our argument is, of course, for Brandon and the Village of Ortonville, it's an old community with small lots. The septic fields are failing. They don't have anywhere else to put them. Davisburg's having the same problem down there in their downtown. Septic fields have failed and they don't have anywhere to put them. They're right there next to the river. When you get into Groveland and Holly, we've got the Dixie corridor, and our argument there is you have Holly Rec, you have Groveland Oaks. You guys brought in the ORV park. We didn't. It's calling for development in that area to support your project. And we're looking for help in doing that. We've also got the mobile home park there on Dixie Highway that's in trouble as well. So there is some need for it. We've just got to figure out how to drag it across the finish line. And that's where the federal funding and these monies they're passing out, we're in every line with our hand out and trying to snag one along the way. So Oakland County Water Resource has named it their #1 goal and project. So it's on the top of their list to get funding, and we're working on that on a regular basis. We're working with Lisa McLean's office. We were working with Lisa Slotkin's office. She's the one that helped us get to 10 million. And both of Debbie Savanaugh and Gary Peters, because these are important projects, and the only way they happen is if we can find funding. Rose Township.
Gee, not a whole lot. We had our Rose Township cleanup day, NOCFA assisted, and it was a great day. Perfect weather. Everyone was very pleasant and no issues that I'm aware of.
Well,
It was great. It was nice and steady. It was probably one of our better cleanup days. And I'm still waiting to find out from the supervisor the replacement for Mr. Campa. I haven't heard a word on that.
Thank you for reminding that. We both had our cleanup at the same time. I want to thank the men and women of the department for the help they gave that day. And Chief, just for your information, I know you were on vacation. At awards banquet, you can be proud of this team. I was there that night.
Me too.
This is a family. It's a team. The camaraderie's there. Yeah, but without the boss, they still behave. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So, and I was amazed to see us hand out awards for 35 years, 40 years, and 55 years, 55 years, and an award for CPR. Which means it's not just somebody sitting on the phone in the office, he's out there on calls. And that's incredible.
He's probably got the top attendance out of all the paid on call responses. So,
Yeah, well, that's, like I said, that's incredible. So it's definitely something to be proud of.
Yeah, it was a very nice night.
That being said, there's nothing left but the citizen at large.
Oh, boy. Congratulations on all the winners at the banquet. I'm sorry I missed it. And, Chamber of Commerce bowling extravaganza that I committed to, so. But next year, actually, I left the bowling alley thinking it was here. So I went there, bowled one round, came up here, thought I'd, make an appearance. It wasn't here. No.
This is over at the Bell.
I'm not very good at this, I guess, but
I
I go to the other station and I
I think, didn't we, yeah, we had it a couple of times. We cleared out everything in the bay and set up the tables there.
Yeah, I didn't
It's
read
a lot
it
of
very
work,
well.
though.
I just, anyways, congratulations to those winners.
And for those that don't know, I'm the president of the chamber, Brad's the vice president, so we have one at each.
We split her up a little.
Yeah. So, all right. That being said, we're at the last public comment. Rules are the same as the first one. Just identify yourself when you come to the microphone. Do I have anybody for public comment? Julia Stern isn't here, so Dan can't talk.
Hey, don't join us together, okay? I get enough flack about that.
All right, then I will head right on into the adjournment. The next meeting will be Monday, June 19th at 7 p.m. at Rose Township. I will officially close it at 8:09.